Hello, my name's Otten again, and we're here for my last persuasive speech. And first off, I'll start by showing you all my audience. And we also have two visitors on Skype.
Hi.
Okay, my persuasive speech is going to be about the death penalty or capital punishment. I'm first going to start off by asking any of you, have you ever dealt with a situation of someone you know or have been close to that is being faced with the death penalty?
No.
No.
Alright, well, I know it's not a very common occurrence for someone to know somebody, but many of us think that it's not our political responsibility to be involved with this idea, and I think that's the complete opposite. And I also think that we as humans should not make the decision if one of our fellow citizens has their own life taken away. For me, I went to LaSalle High School, which is a Catholic high school, but I'm not going to try to explain all of this to you with a faith aspect necessarily, because I know all of us either come from different faith backgrounds or don't have the same faith, and so I want it to be kind of relatable on all terms. However, going to the school, I was able to examine a lot of social issues and see different controversial issues in society and how we should look at these different problems. Another experience that I had that makes a lot of importance is I attended a prayer service for a man who was on death row. His name was Johnny Baston, and this was a very interesting situation. A few of us from our high school were selected to go to this prayer service, and we were selected not necessarily to go and protest, but to learn and to experience everything that's going on and why things happen the way they do. And basically the situation with this guy was he was put on death row, and he was on trial for a very, very, very long time. And eventually it came time for his execution. The way it works in Ohio is that up until the point of, if you have a possibility of pardon, up until the point of when you're going to be executed, the governor has a chance to pardon you. And so he had a chance to be pardoned. Everyone was praying and hoping that that would happen, but it never ended up happening. And essentially on this day we got there, everyone was, just praying and trying to support the family and everything. And everyone was having a very hard time because the person, Johnny, who was being put to death, the people who were the victims of the crime, they neither said that they wanted him to be put to death or anything. So it just ended up happening, and that was a very hard thing for everybody to handle. And it was a very eye-opening experience because we were all there, and essentially what happened was we were all sitting outside the prison. No one can go in, but we were all sitting there while nothing could be happening. Johnny was just about to die, and everyone's just sitting there and nothing's going on. You can't do anything about it. So it's a very eye-opening experience. The reason I want all of you guys to listen is because I think all of us have a very important responsibility to make sure that our government is making the right decisions, because you elect the officials who make the decisions for our government. So it is necessary for all of us to at least consider the social issues rather than ignore them. Simply instilling care and concern for the issues will be a job well done, but many of us don't even take an opinion, so I want you to at least try to start taking an opinion. However, if everyone comes to see the negative side of the death penalty, it will be an even better task. Showing political concern and awareness for this issue is the ultimate goal. If this is what you come to find, look to find what different political officials in your area think or say or do, so that you know who to elect. Now this is where we get into some of the interesting things that I think might actually convince you guys on how you feel. One thing, we learned a lot of things while we were there about what is the case and how things go. So one important thing to know that I thought was that when you are actually, someone is being put to death by the state or whoever, after it occurs, you actually get a death certificate. On the death certificate, it says homicide by the state of Ohio or whatever. So one thing that was very interesting to me was the fact that it says by the state. So actually your name and my name and everybody else's name is on that death certificate. We did it. So another thing people say is that money is a major problem. We shouldn't be paying to have these people stay alive in these prisons and support them. But actually, it's actually fiscally more responsible to keep these people alive, because the trial process is a very, very long process, and a lot of times people are put on trial for 10, 20 years, and the price of keeping this person alive, feeding them, dorming them, whatever, is actually way less than what the trial price is. So that's another thing to think about. One more process that it makes me think that everybody is just kind of ignoring the fact of what's going on is the actual process of lethal injection. For those of you who don't know how it works, when someone is lethally injected, they're placed on the bed and there's two tubes connected to their body. One is filled with the lethal substance and one is not filled. So when the times come for the lethal injection, two men come up and each of them press a button, so that neither of them know who actually pressed the button that is going to kill that person. So I think that's just kind of saying how people are ignoring what's going on, and they don't have the guts to stand up and do it themselves. And there's also many possibilities of putting to death the wrong person. Just last year there was a man who came to Thomas More and spoke to everybody about how he was almost put to death wrongfully. And that's a very important thing to think about. Essentially, we do not have the right to take another person's life, I feel. Essentially, I want you all to see just these points and realize them. Hopefully you develop a concern for the issues, whether it is positive or negative. The world will be a better place if all of us invest ourselves in the decisions that are being made on our behalf. I highly encourage you to consider your opinions and beliefs. I hope you feel you realize the importance of the issues that we all are directly responsible for. We make our own government's decisions. Essentially, just through all my experiences, I feel exactly how I've stated, and I implore you, do not sit back and not even consider the issue. Consider the issue and hopefully you realize the grave nature of it. If so, take action in your own elections. Find out who has that same opinion as your own. And I can ensure that you will never regret holding the gift of life very close to you. If you do this, you're never going to regret it. You might regret not considering it and not doing it, but it should at least be considered and acted upon in one respect or another. Otherwise, you're ignoring the gift of life.